Hey guys, welcome to path number 2 on 9.3.6. This is going to be your tech gate path, and the defenders are going to be Havok, America Chavez, Elsa Bloodstone, Professor X, Morningstar, and a Jean Grey before we jump on to the Doom boss. Now remember, Doom is going to have a trap node here, Countdown of War, more on him later in the video. Make sure that you bring in a good counter for Jean Grey. And for the trap nodes and for the boost and masteries, you can boost for the path, but you will not need it for the boss. And the relics are also not required, but it will help you prolong your combos. But you will need a relic at the end for the boss, so remember that. Now, you can use any class champion here. To be honest, all of them will work, but I would suggest you to bring class advantage champions. Or if you want to be careful against the unblockable, bring in champions that unblock assisted intercepts and unblockables. So, having that out of the way, let's jump into the path. The first fight is going to be against a Havok. I'm going to use an Ironheart. Make sure that you bring in a tech champion that has an armor up so you can get through this fight. Now, this is probably the easiest path in 9.3.6. The only reason I did not do this first is because at the end, Doom has a very annoying trap node, but more on it later when I get into the boss fight. Now for here, it's very simple. Every 15 hits, you're going to get a steadfast buff on you. That will help you unblockable hits and unblockable specials from your defenders. Now you have to get to multiples of 15 to get that. And in the same token, the defender, in our case, who is Havok, he's going to get unblockable every time he gains 5 skirt charges. The skirt charges are gained every 2 seconds, and they are paused while you are doing a special attack or the enemy is triggering a special attack. So just be careful about that. Once the charges get to 10, now you have the ability to eradicate them and deal 250% burst damage. So all you need to do is let the opponent throw a special attack and you can parry that. It doesn't matter if it's unblockable, because if you have the steadfast charges, you can easily parry the specials and you can get a big burst damage. Now, I tried to do that here in this fight, but I wasn't able to. But I was lucky to finish the fight before 15 of those skirt charges, because when the charges are 15 and you do not eradicate them, they eradicate themselves, and instead of the defender, you as an attacker get a burst damage. So 10 to 15 is the skirt charges where you have to parry a special attack, and that helps you eradicate the special charges and deal burst damage. So I think I was able to do it here. So just start the fight normally. All I'm trying to do is to keep America Chavez to an SP1, and while let the skirt charges build up. And once I have 10 of them, I will be able to kind of eradicate them. So I'm just doing my usual rotation, SP2 into SP1, while making sure that she is still just at 1 bar of power. The SP2 cannot be evaded because of unblockable. I'm very bad at that, so I'm kind of worried about that as well. So right again, waiting for her to throw the SP1. Now I'm very near to 10 of those charges, so I'm just gonna throw my special attack here. 1, get the power stings up, wait for her to activate. So she took a burst damage. Now as soon as she gets to 10, I'm going to parry the last hit of this special. So let's check that out and look at the burst damage as soon as you parry, and she is dead. So that is pretty much the whole path. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can bring in different champions that you like. I would still suggest you to bring in class advantage champions for the extra damage and the quick fight, to be honest. Otherwise the path takes a bit longer to finish. Same goes for this one. For Elsa Bloodstone, bring in a mutant champion, play normally as you would, and once you have 10 charges on Elsa Bloodstone, try to eradicate them by parrying the SP1, which can be a bit tricky at times. You might get hit with it. Also, I think I messed up the parry one time and I get eradicated myself. But all in all, it's a really fun path where you can easily get through this one. This is probably one of the paths where I feel you can bring out any champion and you can get through this path. It depends on how you play the nodes, not how your champion is going to fare with the other defender. So yeah, it's one of the more chill paths in 9.3 as a whole. So here we are. We did kind of eradicate the 10 charges. Now we are just going into an SP2. Now waiting for Elsa Bloodstone to throw that SP1 out. I always like to keep Elsa Bloodstone to an SP1 because that SP2 can really hurt, especially if they get 5 charges and they go unblockable and you don't have steadfast debuff. So be very careful. Make sure that you have enough of those steadfast debuffs, steadfast buffs on you, so you can block the unblockables, whether it's a hit or a special attack, and you should be good for this fight. Just waiting her out to get to 10 charges. and pushing her to an SP1 simultaneously. Now there are the 10 charges. I should be able to block the first special one. There we go. Oh, I missed that one out because I couldn't parry on time. So this can happen, so just be careful about that. Anyway, I'm gonna push her to an SP1 again, and I'm gonna try to parry now. And boom, she is out. So you can miss an occasional special attack, that's okay, nothing to worry about there. And next fight number 4 is going to be against Professor X. Pretty simple, pretty easy. It would be better if you bring in a miss counter, so that can be really helpful for you, so you don't have to worry about anything else in this fight. I am just bringing in my trusty Ironheart rank 4, and she is going to do the trick for me. I'm just gonna play it as a normal fight and let those debuffs do all the damage while Professor X is building up to 10 of those skirt charges. So that's where I can eradicate them. So in the meanwhile, just jumping around, letting him throw specials. Already he is melted down with all of those incinerates, but still waiting for the 10th charge. Now it's ready. Now I can just parry the last special attack and deal that burst damage. And SP1, which is easier to parry, and there comes the last hit, and kaboom, he is dead again. And just moving on to the next one. Now this is a fight where you will need a specialty counter for Morningstar, because you will need somebody with the bleed immunity, otherwise she will bleed you out. Don't worry, I've given you a bunch of champions that you can see on the right side of the screen. There are plenty of science champions, for example Titania, Luke Cage, Count Nefaria. You can use any one of them, to be honest, and they will work fine. So just be careful about the unblockable specials. Their SP2 can be evaded, but you need exact timing. And if you mess that up, you already have steadfast debuffs on you, so the SP2 can deal a lot of damage from Morningstar. So I would suggest you to keep her to an SP1 only, which is easier to evade once you get to 10 of those skirt charges for that burst damage. And yeah, rest should be quite easy to deal with. My mistake here that Count Nefaria gets an evade, so I am not able to remove those I'm not able to eradicate the charges with well-timed blocks. So that's something you should not do. You should go ahead and bring in Titania or Luke Cage or any other bleed immune champion that can reliably parry, that will not have assisted intercept, just like Count Nefaria. Otherwise that is going to be a problem. Here we go again. Now I'm just trying to evade her, push her to an SP1 and then evade the last, but the problem is that the evade and Count Nefaria has such a short cooldown that whenever I try that, I just assisted evade and I am not able to parry, and then all of those charges are going to detonate on me, and I look at that damage I've took. But that's okay. Count Nefaria, I can throw my SP1s, heal back up, and that can do the trick as well. And with all of those Eon charges, boom, that's a big special 2 from me. And with all the Furies, I can easily take down Morningstar. So that's how you get through that, but make sure that you bring in a champion that you can reliably parry. Now this last fight is going to be Jean Grey, and you will also need a specialty counter. I've given you a bunch of champions that are reverse controls. I would suggest you to bring reverse control champions because there's one less thing to worry about. You already have to worry about the unblockable, then the steadfast, and then the eradicate. So adding reverse controls is going to be really annoying. So look at the counters on the right side of the screen and check them out. Other than that, once you bring in that counter, it's a very simple fight. Just wait for the specials. SP1 is easily available, SP2 is easily available. Just play your normal fight, although she's gonna take a bit longer because she's quite tanky with a shield. But then when there are 10 charges ready, just parry a special attack and you should deal quite a bit of damage. So right here, I'm waiting for her to throw an SP1 out. I'm gonna parry the last hit and look at that burst damage. And then the Incinerate is also depleting her shield, so Iron is probably the best direct counter to Jean Grey. Reverse control immunity, armor up, damage over time, all of that. And also if you take a lot of beating, there's also regen at the end of it. So Ironheart probably is the best counter, but I've given you quite a few more so you can check them out. And we're gonna jump on to the boss. The final boss is going to be Dread Emperor Doom. Now the trap node here is going to be a bit annoying to deal with, so anytime you will use a special 2, he will transfer a charge to you, and every time you throw a special 2, you're going to transfer a charge to him. But I have to make sure that he does not get to 0 and you do not get to 5. If you get to 5 charges, he is given an SP3, or if he gets to 0 charges, he's given an SP3. Now that remains true for all the 4 phases, so you have to be careful about that. Now, if you haven't checked out my video on Dread Emperor Doom, check out on my channel. That was the first video I took from the CCP beta. So it explains all of these mechanics in full detail. But if you're not, I will just run you through here. So the challenge here is to remove those green icon charges down to 0 under Dread Emperor Doom's health bar, and those are called Doom's Will. Now, there are only 2 ways you can remove those charges. One is you knock down Doom with the special attack, and that removes 4 will. Or the second one that you notice right now is I try to attempt and hit Dread Emperor Doom during the animation of his special attacks while he has those amplified charges. Now, what are amplified charges? Amplified charges, Doom gains them periodically by different actions during different phases. So in phase 1, the action is as soon as Dread Emperor Doom is going to activate a special attack, he is going to get 3 of those amplifiers. And if I try to hit him during the special attacks, I am going to remove the amplifiers and also pre-will for each hit attempted. So let's check out the special 1 evade here. Let me push him to an SP1. I can throw a special attack 1 here also, so I can remove 4 of those will charges. There you go. Now when the SP1 hits in, I'm going to evade that. There's a pattern to it. Dex, dash, and dex. So that's how you're going to do it. Let's look at it again. Let him throw an SP1 again. Dex, dash, and dex. Now every time you try to hit during that dash, you're going to remove 3 wheel charges, and you have to bring them down to 0. Now remember, when he does use an SP1, you will see there's an activation of Aura of Ouroboros. That is going to be a cooldown with the superior class color icon. That is going, so you have to wait it out. You cannot knock down Doom when that aura is active. You can only do that with an SP3 during the aura. So you have to time your specials in a way where the aura is depleted so you can knock him down on the last hit. So that is very important. Now moving on to phase 2, you have to knock down Dread Emperor Doom for him to get amplified. So you notice I just use an SP1 and he has 4 amplify. I'm going to use a striker here and then use a knockdown again. He gets 4 more. And now when they're ready, again, I'll do the same thing. I will trigger his SP1s. I will bait them out, and then within the specials, I'm going to try to do a hit animation between the SP1s, and that will remove those will charges. Now you notice he does not have any more of those amplified charges, so I have to knock him down again. So I'm going to time my special in a way. In the end, the Aura of Ouroboros is depleted, and when you knock him down, he gets 4 of those amplified charges. So this is all the second phase, so you have to be careful about that. Another thing I would like you to notice is if you look at the bottom of Emperor Doom's health bar, there is a big 5 that is countdown of Doom. So I'm not allowing him to throw an SP2, I'm not pushing him to him, but if he does throw that, I get a charge on it on myself. Currently there is 1 charge just underneath my health bar, but if I use an SP2 here, that charge will be transferred back to Emperor Doom, and these charges are going to be reset at the end of every phase. So that is going to be the trap node here. So far we are doing good, so I'm just going to wait out the aura, use a striker or a special attack here to knock down and give him a bit more of those amplified charges. Now the amplified charges are there. I'm going to bait the SP2 out, dex, dash, and then dex again. Now you notice that he has reduced one of his counter of countdown of Doom, so I just use my SP2 right away, so I can push them back to 5. So that is going to be a bit annoying to deal with. That's why I'm using champions that have power gain. So Werewolf by Night has his natural power gain that helps me get to an SP2 very quick. Now in phase 3, the important part is the only way Doom gains amplified charges is when he uses a special attack too. So you have to constantly push him to a special attack too and then evade that, and then the amplified charges can help you remove the will. Now when you remove the charge first time, there won't be much amplified charges, but as you go into the second or third SP2, the charges are going to increase and they are going to be enough for you to bring the will down to 0. I would suggest even in between throw your special attacks as well, so you can bring down the will charges through special attack knockdowns as well. So right here, I'm just playing very slowly here, just trying to push him to an SP2, heavy attacks, while I'm also trying to stay near to an SP2. So as soon as he throws that SP2 out, I can use my special attack too, and also give that charge back to him so I can manage the countdown of doom charges. As you just noticed, it went from 3 to 4 again. So this phase is going to be the most important one, where you have to manage all of your countdown charges. Make sure that you don't get to 0, because at 0 he gets 3 bars of power, and then with an SP3 you die. Now another important thing here is you don't have to always push him to an SP2. Anytime you push him to SP2, he's going to trigger that and get a bunch of amplify charges. Now when he has those charges, keep him to an SP1. When he doesn't have charges, then only push him to an SP2, and it should help you out. I'm ready to throw another SP2, and I bring the countdown of doom charges back to 5, so I'm back and have a good time here. So this is going to be the most important phase that you need to manage. There's another SP2, and he's down to 51 charges. So remember, if all the charges are there, he will get less amplify charges. For every charge missing, he's going to gain extra amplify charges. So it's upon you where you want to keep it. I like to keep the sweet spot in between 3 and 4. So there is enough amplify charges where I can push him to an SP1 after an SP2 and still remove those will charges. Here I am again, getting to an SP2, using my striker to delay the timer of Aura of Ouroboros, and there is a big SP2, and again 4 charges are back up again, so we are chilling here. So this can be difficult and this can be easy as well, depending, but it does prolong the phase here in phase 3, but it kind of helps you in the end if you can understand the mechanics of it. So just 17 charges remaining, and he still has 2 amplify, so we're gonna trigger the SP1 from him, and now my job is to push him to an SP2. So I'm gonna use my striker, get to an SP2 myself, throw that out, and right here push him to an SP2. Once you throw that SP2, there is enough amplify charges now to remove all the will, and I'm pushing him to phase 4. Now phase 4 is the easiest one because you don't have to worry about the will charges. He's gonna keep gaining them anyway, so you just have to keep pushing him to an SP1, and once he throws that SP1, you attempt your hits and you remove the will charges. The tricky part here though is that he will gain those amplify charges very quick, and if they go above 10 or like 15, he is going to gain so much power that he's going to get to an SP2 and SP3 straight away. So that is the challenge of this phase. You have to keep those will charges down while allowing him to get to an SP1. If you push him to an SP2, there is a chance that he might get to an SP3 also with all of those extra amplify charges, so you have to be careful about that. So SP1 evades are going to be the best, and they will also help you keep the amplify charges down and not give him much power, so he just races to an SP3, because remember, SP3 and heavy attacks are going to be instant death. Now because you're going to keep him to an SP1 always, the Aura of Ouroboros will always be active, so you cannot get hit with a medium or light with an SP1 hits or SP2 hits, because that's going to inflict baptism of doom on you. So that is going to be difficult to manage. So notice he just got to an SP2, and right now I'm panicking, like throw that special out. I don't want him to get to an SP3, but luckily he throws that out, and I'm able to bring the charges down to 5 with 14 will charges remaining. So yeah, that is going to be the whole fight, guys. And once you bring down the will charges to 0, just use a striker, and once you do use a striker, at the end of it, throw a heavy attack while the will charges are 0, and you should be able to knock him out with a slow-mo. The last SP2 again. There is a heavy attack, and he's gonna, I should have threw a heavy attack there, but I think I messed up the timing on it, but that's okay. One more SP1 evade and he is going to die. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The last video will be out soon on 9.3.6. Let me know in the comment section who you use, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.